The Perron family. In 1971, the Perron family moved into their new home in rural Breville, Rhode Island, a sweeping farmhouse built in the 18th century. It was to be the start of a new life for the parents and their 5 young daughters, and it was, but not in the way that they expected. After only a few nights in the house, Caroline Perron, the mom, awoke to the spectre of an old woman hung by the neck from her bedroom ceiling. Over the next few weeks, strange sounds emanated from the crawl spaces and cellar of the house. Doors would open themselves and slam shut. Food would sweat blood. With the help of paranormal investigators, the parents discovered that a witch practicing in the 18th century had supposedly sacrificed her own child to Satan, opened the house to the devil, and then hung herself. The parents came to believe that the witch's ghost, as well as a myriad of demons and the ghosts of further suicides in the property, were haunting them. One of the daughters, Andrea Perron, now in her 50s, still maintains that the story is completely true and that her mom even became possessed at one point. The Perron story is the inspiration for the film The Conjuring, but the film doesn't tell the whole story. After Mrs. Perron was possessed, the family stayed in the house for about 9 more years and just sort of learned to live with the spirits. George Lukens. Dubbed the Yatton demoniac by the British press, George Lukens claimed to be possessed by 7 demons that could only be removed by 7 priests. His subsequent exorcism became one of the most infamous accounts of the 18th century. Lukens' condition was first noticed when a woman named Sarah Barber sent a letter to a local priest begging him to come have a look at her childhood friend. For the past 18 years, the letter said Lukens had slowly deteriorated both mentally and physically, often breaking down into seizures and growling at the people around him. As the years went on, the fits got worse and took on a supernatural tone. The letter said that he declares in a roaring voice that he is the devil himself. On June the 13th, 1778, 7 priests were rounded up and began a lengthy exorcism at the Temple Church in Bristol, England. As the priests opened the exorcism by singing hymns, George Lukens fell into a violent fit, barking and hissing at the men before shouting that his torment of George Lukens would be 1,000 times worse for trying such a stupid thing as an exorcism. Following that outburst, Lukens cycled through 7 demonic personalities, at the end of which he yelled that he was the devil himself. In the end, according to the account, the demons were sent back to hell. The dybbuk box. It all started when antiques dealer Kevin Mannis purchased an old wine cabinet at an estate sale in 2000. The ancient wooden box came with a story. It had originally belonged to the grandmom of the estate owner, who kept it hidden away so that nobody could open it. She had called it the dybbuk box. Dybbuks are spirits in Jewish folklore that latch themselves into people and objects, bringing bad luck, misery, and death. After leaving the newly purchased box at his office, Manus received a hysterical call from his secretary. Someone or something was shouting and smashing things in the office. Someone had also locked all the doors. When he returned to the scene, Manus found that all the light bulbs in the office had been broken, and his secretary was curled up in a corner sobbing. After attempting to sell or give away the box several times, Manus took to keeping it in his own house. Slowly, Manus started to go crazy. He began seeing shadows out of the corners of his eyes. He would awake in the middle of the night, feeling like someone was breathing on his neck, and his home became filled with the stench of cat urine and jasmine flowers. Finally, he posted the dybbuk box on eBay along with the story behind it, asking for someone with experience in demonology to take it. It was purchased by a student who ended up posting it on eBay again after he began experiencing the same occurrences as Manus. Strange smells, moving shadows, and a sudden invasion of cockroaches in his house. The dybbuk box is currently owned by Jason Haxton, a museum curator who collects paranormal curiosities. Son of Sam. David Berkowitz, the self-proclaimed Son of Sam, was one of the most ruthless serial killers in US history. He began murdering people in 1976 and continued for a year before he was caught by the police. The murders were all similar. He would approach his victims at night, shoot them with a .44 revolver, and leave without saying a word. At one of the shootings, he left a disturbing note for the police, which talked about Father Sam, who drinks blood and commands him to go out and kill. Berkowitz's real-life father was named Tony, so who was Sam? According to Berkowitz, Sam was a demon who had possessed his neighbor's dog. When Berkowitz was arrested in 1977, he gave a full confession, claiming that the dog spoke to him and told him when to kill someone. Sometimes he called Sam a demon, other times he said that Sam was the spirit of an evil man who had lived 6,000 years ago and found a conduit through the Labrador Retriever living next door. Whether the story was fabricated to grant him an insanity plea at his trial or not, the combination of the macabre note and a demon-possessed dog is enough to send chills up your spine. So that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching and I hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like. Until tomorrow, goodbye.